You were chosen before you could choose. Not recruited, selected. From the billions of souls crushed under the weight of the Imperium of man, someone noticed you. A test score. A reflex. A moment of instinct in a Hive City alley that was observed by eyes you never saw. You did not know what you were being taken for. You knew you were not going back. Welcome to the Officio Assassinorum. The most secret organization in the Imperium. More feared than the Inquisition by those who understand what it actually does. More lethal, per operative, than any fighting force in human space. And the life you are about to live is not a life in any ordinary sense. It is a function. A weapon given consciousness just enough to aim itself. This is what that existence actually looks like. Temple by temple. Rank by rank. From the first day of conditioning to the moment your target falls, the Officio Assassinorum exists for one purpose. To kill individuals, not armies, not fortresses, not the vast grinding attrition of the galaxy's endless wars. Individuals. The warlord whose death will shatter his army's will. The chaos sorcerer whose ritual must be interrupted before completion. The rogue governor whose loyalty has shifted in ways that conventional forces cannot address quietly. The Imperium wages war at a scale that defies comprehension. Billions of soldiers, millions of tanks, fleets that blot out the stars, and yet, there are targets that cannot be reached by armies, that are too well protected, too far inside enemy territory, too dangerous to approach in any way that announces itself. For those targets, the Assassinorum exists, one operative, one mission, one death, and the war changes. The temples. There are 6 known temples of the Officio Assassinorum. Each one does not simply train its operatives differently. It makes them into different things. The Vindicare temple produces the perfect marksman, not simply a skilled sniper, something beyond skill. Beyond training in any conventional sense. The Vindicare operative undergoes conditioning that eliminates the human limitations of a shooter. The flinch, the hesitation, the heartbeat that moves a barrel by a fraction of a millimeter at 2 kilometers range. None of these remain. What remains is the instrument, the eye, the trigger, the absolute stillness of a human body that has been refined over years until it is less a person than a precision targeting system wearing skin. The Exitus rifle, the weapon of the Vindicare, fires ammunition designed for specific purposes. The turbo penetrator round capable of defeating personal force fields. The Hellfire round for biological targets. The shieldbreaker round that disrupts void shields at the point of impact. The Vindicare does not simply shoot. He selects, evaluates, determines the exact moment and the exact round for the exact effect required. And then the galaxy changes. One shot. One target. One ripple through the strategic situation that may take months to fully understand. The Vindicare will not see those months. He will already be gone. The Callidus temple. If the Vindicare is a bullet, the Callidus is a ghost. Callidus operatives are masters of infiltration. Disguise. The specific art of becoming someone else so completely that they fool not just casual observation, but the bio-scanners of chaos temples, the psycho-detection of rogue covens, the paranoid scrutiny of men who trust no one. They achieve this through the use of a substance called polymorphine. Polymorphine allows the user to reshape their body at the cellular level. Height build, the specific shape of a face, the texture of skin. Used incorrectly, it is lethal. The body attempting to reshape itself without the precise neural control that Callidus training develops will tear itself apart in the attempt. Used by a trained Callidus operative, it makes them functionally unlimited in the forms they can assume. The Callidus does not simply infiltrate. She destabilizes. Before the killing blow, the Callidus operative may spend months inside a target organization, as a trusted advisor, a servant, a lover, someone who has access to everything and is noticed by no one as a threat. She learns the rhythms, the weaknesses, the specific moment when the target's guard drops, and then she acts, not always with a weapon, sometimes with a word, a document, a rumor placed in the right ear that tears the target's organization apart before the physical act of killing is even required. The Teton phase sword she carries, a weapon that partially exists outside normal space, is not her primary instrument. Her mind is. The sword is for the moment when the mind's work is done. The Eversor temple. Here the philosophy changes entirely. The Vindicare is precision. The Callidus is subtlety. The Eversor is rage. Controlled, directed, chemically sustained, neurologically engineered rage. The Eversor operative is kept in stasis between missions. Not because the Imperium does not have use for him. Because the Eversor cannot be deployed in proximity to allied forces. He cannot be turned off. What the Eversor conditioning creates is not a soldier. It is something that has surrendered the distinction between living and killing so completely that the two states have become indistinguishable. The biochemical cocktails that sustain an Eversor operative, Frenzen, Slort, Stim. A mixture whose purpose is to maintain the body's function while removing everything that would slow its killing, make him effectively incapable of what most people would recognize as normal cognitive function. He is a weapon, running until the target is dead, until everything near the target is dead, until the Eversor himself is finally still. The Nero gauntlet in one hand, the executioner pistol in the other, the melter bomb for situations that require complete structural dissolution. And when the ammunition runs out, the Eversor continues with his hands. This is not metaphor. This is documented law. The Eversor Temple does not train killers. It creates a state of being in which everything is killing. The Imperium deploys this sparingly. The collateral damage of an Eversor operation is substantial. The message it sends, to rebels, to traitors, to the worlds that have considered looking away from the Emperor's light, is intentional. Not subtle. Precisely not subtle. Sometimes the Imperium does not want you to misunderstand what it means. The Culexus Temple. Silence. The Culexus is not trained the way the others are trained. The Culexus is recruited from a specific and extremely rare category of human being, the pariah, the untouchable, the person who exists as a null point in the psychic field that permeates the 41st Millennium. Where most human beings register in the warp, the psychic dimension that underlies reality. As a light, however faint, the pariah is darkness. An absence, a void that causes psychers physical distress in proximity, and that disrupts the supernatural powers that chaos sorcerers and alien psychers depend upon. The Culexus does not choose to be what she is born this way. And in a universe where psychic power is as fundamental as gravity, a person who nullifies psychic power is more dangerous than almost any weapon the Imperium can manufacture. The Anima Speculum, the weapon mounted on the Culexus's mask, fires blasts of accumulated psychic nullity. Not energy in the conventional sense, anti-energy. The weapon of a person who has no soul, in the sense that the warp understands souls, firing the absence of soul as a weapon. Against a cow space marine. Against a sorcerer in the middle of a summoning ritual. Against the daemon that the sorcerer has already called. In those moments, the Culexus is not simply lethal. She is existentially threatening to things that cannot die by ordinary means. And she lives alone, because the effect of her nature on the people around her. The instinctive discomfort, the sense of wrongness that ordinary humans experience in the presence of a true pariah, makes normal human connection essentially impossible. She serves the Imperium that fears what she is. She kills for the Emperor who would never look at her directly. This is her existence, not chosen, given, execution force, the rarest deployment of all. Most assassin operations are individual, one temple, one operative, one target. But there are targets that require more. A Chaos Warmaster who has fortified himself in a warp-touched fortress. A rogue Primarch, entities whose power exceeds anything a single operative can address. A situation so complex that the precision of the Vindicare, the infiltration of the Callidus, the destructive force of the Eversor, and the psychic negation of the Culexus are all required simultaneously. For those situations, the High Lords of Terror authorize an execution force. Multiple temples, multiple operatives. A single coordinated mission. Operatives from different temples have never worked together in their training. Their conditioning makes cooperation unnatural. The Eversor is barely controllable. The Culexus makes the others uncomfortable in ways they cannot suppress. The Vindicare's preference for distance conflicts with the close proximity the Callidus requires. And yet, when the mission requires it, they function. Not as a team in any conventional military sense. As a collection of instruments that, aimed at the same target, produce a result no single instrument could achieve. The galaxy has not seen many execution forces. When it has, the target has died every time. This is not coincidence. This is the product of the most sophisticated lethal engineering the Imperium has developed across 10,000 years of continuous war. You were chosen before you could choose. That is where we started. And now you understand what you were chosen for. Not glory, not recognition. Not the kind of martial honor that space marines are celebrated for across the Imperium. You will not have a name that is spoken after you die. Your face will not be on a memorial. The mission that your death made possible will be classified at the highest level of inquisitorial secrecy. The Imperium will not mourn you. It will simply requisition your replacement. You are a weapon. You have always been a weapon. The difference between you and a bolter or a las cannon is that you were given enough consciousness to understand what you are. And what you are is the answer to a specific question. When the Imperium cannot solve a problem with an army, it sends you. You will go where armies cannot go, kill what armies cannot reach, change the outcome of wars that the Imperium's vast military apparatus cannot resolve by force alone. And then you will disappear. Back into the silence, back into stasis, back into the machinery of the organization that made you, until the next target, until the next mission, until the day the mission does not end the way the previous ones did. In the 41st millennium for 10,000 years, the Officio Assassinorum has served the Emperor. Silently, without acknowledgement, without the records that would make the pattern of its work visible to any outside eye. It has killed what needed killing, and it has done so with a dedication that has no human equivalent. Because its operatives are no longer entirely human. They are something the Imperium made, to survive a universe that would otherwise consume it, one precise death at a time. If the lore of the 41st millennium, the hidden systems, the secret organizations, the full depth of what makes this universe, matters to you, subscribe. No surface level summary. Just the lore explored as seriously as it deserves. Hit subscribe. There is one more temple that the Imperium does not openly acknowledge. Even within the Officio Assassinorum. The Vanus temple. Where the Vindicare kills with a rifle, the Callidus with a blade, the Eversor with everything, and the Culexus with her nature. The Vanus kills with information. The Vanus operative is an intelligence specialist, an infiltrator of data systems, a master of the logistical and informational architecture that keeps the Imperium's vast machinery functioning. In a universe where a planetary governor controls billions of lives, the information that reaches him shapes everything he does. Troop deployments, diplomatic negotiations, the timing of military campaigns. The Vanus does not need to be in the room. He needs to control what reaches the room. A supply shipment rerouted, a communication intercepted and replaced, a battle plan delivered to the enemy under the appearance of a secure channel. The target dies in a battle he should have won, against odds he was told were favorable, without understanding that the odds had been arranged. The Vanus operative may never know if his mission succeeded. The consequences of information manipulation unfold over months, over years. The death of the target may occur long after the Vanus has withdrawn, the victim of decisions made on falsified intelligence the Vanus provided weeks earlier. This is the most invisible work the Assassinorum does, and possibly the most consequential. Because a Vindicare kills one man, a Vanus can hollow out an entire war effort before the enemy understands it is losing. There is also the Venenum temple, the poisoners, where the Vanus works through information and the Callidus through disguise, the Venenum works through chemistry. Poisons of extraordinary sophistication, compounds that mimic natural causes of death, agents that affect specific genetic profiles, killing only the target while leaving everyone else at the table unharmed. The Venom operative may attend a diplomatic dinner. The target dies 3 days later of what the planetary medica concludes was a cardiac event. No weapon found. No assassin identified. No trail that leads back to the Assassinorum. Just a death that changes the political situation in exactly the way the High Lords required. Together, the 6 temples of the Officio Assassinorum cover every method of killing that the Imperium has determined a single operative can execute. Precision fire, infiltration and impersonation, overwhelming violence, psychic nullification, information warfare, poison, 6 ways to end the life of one person, 6 ways to change the direction of a war. The Imperium of man has survived 10,000 years of existential threat, chaos, xenos, internal rebellion, through many means. One of the least visible is this. An organization that no one officially acknowledges, deploying operatives that are no longer entirely people, to kill the specific individuals whose deaths make everything else possible. The Assassinorum does not win wars. It ensures that wars can be won. And in the 41st millennium, where every war is existential and losing means extinction, that distinction is everything.